What do you think about what Macron said about the French military forces leaving African countries?
Well, I thought about what President Macron said last week about African countries and African leaders, specifically Senegal and Ivory Coast and many of those like Mali, Burkina Faso, and etc., where the basis was there. And now our presidents decided for those bases to go back home. It made me think of four things. The first is the arrogance of President Macron, unfortunately, when he talks to African leaders, was very disappointing. And I cannot imagine him talking to a US president or a Chinese president or a Russian president or any other country leader's president the way he talks to African presidents. I know. It leads me to the second thing, that he does not understand today that the Africa that he used to, or France is used to, has changed. It's not the Africa that we have today. The Africa we have today is led by young people just like him, who understand exactly what they want for their countries. The same generation who have no complex whatsoever of superiority to the French. So he has to accept and respect that Africa that France knew before, that France slaved before, that France colonized before, has changed. These are the children, the great children of the Nelson Mandelas, the Cheikh Anta Diobs, and the Mamadou Dias, and etc., and Nkrumahs. They are not going to accept what our parents accepted. And that mutual respect that they demanding, that moves me to my third part, is that they want autonomy for their countries. They want to lead their countries, but open to partners that come into a win-win situation. Just like the partnership with France and the United States, with France and Turkey, and the France and Italy, and etc. They're all into, win-win situations, and respect as well. And this is what our countries are demanding. And our people are demanding, the young people are demanding, is not non-negotiable, So for a young president as Macron to not understand it is completely disappointing. And that led me to the fourth point, which is, if you look at the historical context, for example, the United States had to come and save France to the domination of Germany during the World War II. But Africa and the tirailleurs Senegalese, which is a lot of African militaries, played an incredible role in liberating France. Unfortunately, with history, what happened, many of those militaries, after helping to save France from Germany, they came home in Senegal, and they was asking for their pay, which the French government and the French militaries shot them dead in Senegal, which is called the tirailleurs Senegalese. 44, unfortunately. Many people who fought the war to liberate the country, instead of getting thank you that he's demanding, instead of asking for thank you, actually, I think France and President Macron forgot to say thank you to Africa for helping to save the country. Unfortunately, all those people were dead. Until now, we don't have a thank you yet. We, the grandchildren of those militaries and those people, also need a thank you from him. To that historical context, if you're looking at the role the United States played during the war to come to save Europe, but not only save Europe, they could have stayed, but they had to go. Then they brought money with the German Marshall Fund to help rebuild Europe. But that didn't give them the right to want to stay. That also didn't give them the right to say, you know what, because we help you with the German Marshall Fund, we're going to have a military base here in France and stay here and tell you how to run your country, teach you about democracy and human rights and what you need to do to lead your country. And everybody knows France is not in a good position to teach anybody about human rights because of its records of everything that happened, from slavery to colonization to everything else that happened that we all know until now, to the discrimination happening to minorities living in France. So what I'm trying to say after this first observation of what I think of President Macron's speech, and I know a lot of French nationals do not believe or support the talks of Macron towards Africa. So what I'm hoping to see today or tomorrow, whenever it's going to come, is a mutual respect where France and any African country, whether it's Senegal or any African country, will be a win-win situation, but also a relationship with mutual respect. Even though each country will defend their own interests, as he said, we understand that in a geopolitical world, but it has to be in mutual respect. The same way he talks to the United States, the same way he talks to France, to other countries like UK, the same way he has to talk to African countries like Senegal. Because those young leaders we have in Senegal, that we have in all of those countries today, demand respect. They are not asking for it because they want to lead their countries with partners who respect them, but who also come in for a win-win situation. Everybody knows that France's military presence in many of those African countries were not there to just bring peace. We knew, everybody understand, we are not in a world where people don't have information. We understand, if you're looking at the uranium of what happened to Niger, the gold, what happened to the war in Mali, in many of those countries, the military presence was also there to take advantage of the natural resources of Africa. Because France is one of the most #1 producers of uranium, without one mine in France of uranium. This speaks loud. We understand that, this generation. And today, most of those leaders are saying, you know what? Our natural resources are going to benefit our people first before it benefits any other countries. And this is what's making Macron upset. And I hope that he will understand that they have the full rights to say to their countries first. As America, right here where I live, where I'm staying, Americans happily say America first. Africans also should have the right to say Africa first. And this, I hope that he gets. And I commend the Prime Minister of Senegal, Mr. Sonko, for speaking out, but also for all of the African presidents in this generation to be able to say, it's enough. The time for colonization is over. But then, hoping that change will be a mutual course for both France to turn the page, to know that those days are gone where you can come to Africa, explore the natural resources, and no one will have a say. If this is why he's upset, I'm sorry, Mr. President, those days are gone. God bless you.